March 1st, 2026, 02:47 a.m. local time. 4 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers penetrate deep into heavily defended Iranian airspace. Their radar cross-section is smaller than a bird. The Iranian Bavar 373 air defense batteries scanning the night sky see absolutely nothing. The targets are not surface facilities. They are subterranean fortresses buried nearly 200 feet beneath the Zagros Mountains. The weapon of choice is the 30,000 lb GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator. In just 72 hours, over 200 strategic targets are obliterated. A nuclear program 30 years in the making is vaporized in seconds. The American stealth bombers return to base without a single scratch on their radar-absorbent paint. March 2026. The world stands on the brink of World War III. The Strait of Hormuz is burning, global markets are in freefall, and the President of the United States makes a chilling promise to the world. 4 weeks, and we will finish this for good. This is the declassified tactical breakdown of Operation Epic Fury. This is what happens when a nation decides to poke the bear, and American technology stops playing fair. To understand the sheer violence of Operation Epic Fury, we have to rewind to February 28, 2026, Geneva, Switzerland. Nuclear negotiations between Washington and Tehran collapse catastrophically. The Iranian envoy storms out of the hall, declaring to the international press that Iran will never surrender its ballistic missile program and will enrich uranium to weapons-grade purity. The American response does not wait for United Nations resolutions. In Washington, the president steps up to the podium in an emergency press conference, his face set in stone. He declares that the United States will not allow a state sponsor of terror to possess the ultimate weapon. The diplomatic window is officially closed. But the Israelis do not wait for the press conference to end. March 1st, 2026, 02:47 a.m., Tehran time. A squadron of Israeli F-35I Adir stealth fighters breaches Iranian airspace. They're flying nap of the earth, masking their approach in the radar shadows of the desert valleys. Their target isn't a nuclear facility, it's a highly coordinated decapitation strike. 30 precision-guided munitions strike 3 heavily guarded compounds in Tehran at the exact same second. The result is the surgical assassination of over 40 top-tier Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps commanders, including the supreme leader himself. Tehran wakes up to complete paralysis. The head of the snake has been cut off while it slept. The regime immediately vows terrifying apocalyptic revenge, but they do not realize the real nightmare hasn't even started. March 2nd, 2026, 03:15 a.m., Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. 4 massive bat-winged monsters prepare for takeoff. The B-2 Spirit stealth bombers. Call signs, Pro 4144. While the world sleeps, these crews are prepping for the longest, most complex combat sortie of their lives. A 37-hour continuous flight requiring 6 mid-air refuelings over the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. But the true horror isn't the $2 billion aircraft itself. It's what is sitting inside its bomb bays. The GBU-57 MOP, the Massive Ordnance Penetrator. This isn't just a bomb. It is 14 tons of hardened steel and titanium guided by GPS. The weapon is over 20 feet long. It is designed for one specific terrifying purpose: to be dropped from 40,000 feet, reach supersonic terminal velocity, punch through 200 feet of solid rock and reinforced concrete, and detonate deep underground. It creates an artificial earthquake that buries everything below. The 4 bombers take to the sky carrying 64 of these monsters. 7,000 miles separate them from their targets. March 3rd, 2026, 11:47 p.m., Iran time. The first target is Karg Island, the beating heart of the Iranian economy, where 90% of their oil exports flow. Above the island, Iranian air defenses are on maximum alert following the Tehran assassinations. Radar operators stare at their screens, but they see only static. At 50,000 feet, the B-2s open their bomb bay doors. 32 joint direct attack munitions rain down on the island. In just 8 minutes, 90 strategic targets are erased from the map. Pumping stations, giant storage tanks, and export terminals are shattered. Karg Island turns into a pillar of fire, visible from low Earth orbit. The Iranian economy is bombed back to the Stone Age. But the B-2s are not done. Dawn breaks on March 4th. The main event begins. Iran's buried missile and nuclear facilities. The Fordow uranium enrichment facility is the crown jewel of Iran's nuclear ambitions. It is built nearly 300 feet under a mountain and is widely considered indestructible by conventional weapons. The American GBU-57s punch through the mountain's crust like a hot knife through butter. They reach maximum depth and the delayed fuses trigger. The impenetrable fortress becomes a radioactive tomb. 5,000 centrifuges are instantly turned into twisted scrap metal. In just 72 hours, U.S. Central Command announces the total destruction of 200 strategic targets. The Iranian nuclear program is dead. U.S. aircraft lost. 0. But an empire that has survived for thousands of years does not fall without spilling blood. March 6, 2026. The IRGC opens the blast doors to its remaining subterranean arsenals. A massive barrage of over 1,000 suicide drones and ballistic missiles is launched simultaneously. The sky over the Middle East catches fire. 600 missiles are aimed at Israel, 150 at Jordan, and 250 are aimed directly at United States military bases in Iraq and the Persian Gulf. American Patriot and THAAD missile defense batteries work in overdrive, successfully intercepting 85% of the incoming threats. The night sky is lit up by hundreds of supersonic intercepts. But in the brutal math of saturation warfare, sheer numbers eventually win. The missiles that slip through the defense net strike Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq with devastating accuracy. The result brings America to a dead halt. 13 American soldiers are killed. They are the first U.S. casualties of the war. This changes the rules of engagement completely. The president addresses the nation, his face pale with fury. He states that Iran has made its final mistake, and the American response will not be proportional. It will be absolute. March 7, 2026. Tehran plays its final suicidal card. The Iranian government announces that the Strait of Hormuz is officially closed to all hostile shipping. The global impact is immediate. 21% of the world's oil supply is choked off in an instant. The price of a barrel of crude jumps from $85 to $127 in 24 hours. Global stock markets crash. Panic sets in. To enforce the blockade, the IRGC deploys their infamous swarm tactic. 300 heavily armed fast attack boats loaded with torpedoes and anti-ship missiles flood the strait. They think they hold the global economy hostage. They think they can overwhelm any single American destroyer that dares to enter the waterway. They are dead wrong. The U.S. Navy doesn't send a lone destroyer to get swarmed. They send the aviation wing in beast mode. Dozens of F-15E Strike Eagles and B-1B heavy bombers swoop down over the strait. The Iranians look up and laugh. They assume a few jets carrying standard missiles cannot possibly lock onto and destroy 300 wildly maneuvering speedboats before they launch their torpedoes. But the Americans are not carrying standard missiles. They drop the GBU-105 sensor-fused weapon. This isn't a bomb. It is an autonomous slaughterhouse. As the canisters fall from the bombers, they break open in mid-air, deploying hundreds of smart skeet submunitions attached to small parachutes. As they descend, these puck-shaped devices spin rapidly. They use a combination of laser imaging and infrared sensors to scan the ocean surface, specifically looking for the massive heat signatures generated by the Iranian boat engines. Once a target is locked, the skeet fires an explosively formed penetrator, a slug of molten copper traveling at hypersonic speeds. It punches straight through the engine block of the boat, instantly vaporizing it from the inside out. In a horrifying sequence that lasts exactly 12 minutes, the Strait of Hormuz turns into a meat grinder. Over 250 Iranian fast attack boats are erased from existence. They are turned into burning fiberglass floating on the water before a single Iranian sailor even has the chance to pull a trigger. The Iranian armada is annihilated. The strait is secured and reopened to international shipping in less than 6 hours. March 13, 2026. 2 weeks since Operation Epic Fury began. Iran's military infrastructure is in ashes. Its nuclear dreams are shattered. Its naval swarm is sitting at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. But a wounded animal is the most dangerous. The world is now holding its breath. Will the Russian bear intervene to save its strategic ally in Tehran, igniting World War III? Will China step in to secure its vital oil interests? Or will the Iranian regime simply collapse from within as millions of citizens take to the dark, chaotic streets to overthrow a paralyzed government? The President of the United States said it would take 4 weeks to finish this. But history tells us that wars in the Middle East are incredibly easy to start and almost impossible to finish. Now it's your turn. What is your tactical analysis of the situation? Do you think American air power can truly end this war in a matter of weeks? Or are we looking at the beginning of a bloody decades-long war of attrition? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want daily tactical updates and military breakdowns of this conflict, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell.